All right. Good morning, folks. Hopefully we can do okay here. Um, got background noise. We've got the 3D printer running in the background here, so we're just going to have to live with that. I seem to have all kinds of problems with these here at my desk here lately, but nonetheless, let's go through and do a little Fleabay edition. I wanted to get this done earlier in the week or over the weekend, but we were busy here. So I have not even looked at anything here yet, so let's just start in. Might as well start with Atlas Shapers here. Here's a 4-inch vise, new listing, $359.99 and $27.43 shipping. Let's see, this is indeed a shaper vise. Used, in good condition and working great, but please note one jaw is missing. Who's selling this one here? Oh yeah, this is one of our normal sellers. Lots and lots of feedback, you know. Alright, well, let's look at the pictures. I see nothing wrong with this. I don't think they're worth this much money. But in this case, that's neither here nor there. Let's just look at the big pictures. This has been used. Looks to be, you know, other than paint being pretty well gone, looks to be in pretty good condition, actually. Jaws aren't all chewed up. It's not, you know, I mean, normal wear and tear. But I've seen a whole lot worse that they wanted the same or more money for. You know, got a little bit of a dink right here in this corner, and it's got some wear on it. You know, I mean, it's got a lot of miles, which you expect to see. But all in all, not really in bad condition. Is it worth that much money? I don't really think so. But, you know, 250 bucks maybe for these. They're, you know, they're a little bit harder to come by. Now this looks a little bit, we don't have a real good matchup here on this edge, so is that just the way we're seeing it in the picture, or has this maybe been abused a little bit more than actually shows? Got the key in the bottom, and of course this has probably been cleaned up. This is probably just not as was condition type of thing, but you know, all in all, can't complain on that vise too bad. Probably, you know, $250 vise is what the market should be bringing on these. So anyway, let's move on. Atlas 7B pointer. This is another new listing too. $27.99. These things are worth about 10 bucks. Is all there. Same seller. You know, it's in good shape, but it's not worth 28 bucks. So this tells me right now he's parting out another mill. Cross rail screw dial, 20 bucks. Too much money. Atlas 7B parts list catalog 7B, 16 pages, 7-inch shaper combo bound gloss cover, brand new, $14.27 or best offer and $6.10 return shipping. Let's look at this, see what they're doing. Okay, this is not anybody that I really recognize. How are they describing this? The reason I ask is, or the reason that this interests me at all, okay, this is the reason it interests me at all is, you know, I offer these reproductions too, but unused, unopened, and damaged packaging. 7B parts catalog, 16 pages for 7-inch shaper. New reproduction to be printed in black and white. Glossy protective cover, hard comb by an 8.5 mm. I have a large database and have only listed a fraction of this so far. Okay, well, the deal with these manuals, and you know, I've said before, I have a tremendous selection of manuals that I have acquired over the years, and at one time I was actively reproducing and marketing these. It got to be here on Fleabay that these guys are, you know, we're going to the point where when I was still doing it, they were actually buying copies of mine that I'd gone through, cleaned up, and reproduced, and they were buying mine and then copying them and reselling them again. So I basically quit pushing them. I still have these in stock. I don't know if I've got them on the website or not. I don't know that I'm charging 15 bucks. You know, shipping's gotten to be way out of hand. Shipping's going to be what it is. That 610's probably not out of line shipping wise. But I don't know if I was getting 15 bucks for them. I was not putting a gloss cover on them, which is a plastic cover, but I do the hard, you know, the cardstock cover on them and everything. You know, if you're interested in these, you can buy them here. You can buy them from me. You can go to places like vintagemachinery.org, and I think these are probably uploaded. This is probably uploaded to the Atlas list too. So you can go and download a copy for free and print it out if you don't want anything really fancy, or you know, you can make it as fancy as you want. And chances are that's how a lot of these guys started doing it. They were either buying somebody else's, or now it's common. You can find all of these manuals online for free. So, you know, pays your money, takes your chances. 7B Shaper feed and ratchet gear case. That's 7-22D. Now this is, I think these are ones we've already looked at before. Yeah, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. This is probably I think this is the original seller of the vise that we were looking at. There again, he's parting out a machine. I think these are probably worth $125, $150 for a brand new one. A used one should be worth $50, and this is not the part you need. You need the cover, is the main part that's normally damaged. So that's a pass. Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of shaper parts on down here that are the same way. Now here's I think I'm going to go back up to that one. Yeah, I'm sure this is the same seller. I'm not going to go look at it. You can go and look if you want. He's parting out guards too. He's got both a large and a small. Yeah, same seller. He's parting out one. Parting out a machine here. Here's a larger guard, $229 and $24 shipping. You know, I'm selling a reproduction for probably about that. Well, it's less than that. It's not. I think I might be $250 on these. You know, we can go and look at the big pictures of this guard very quickly. Just because we can. Maybe we can. There we are. A good looking guard. Nothing wrong with it. You know, we've gotten to the point where a lot of these, when you're looking, now if this is a cast iron guard, then this is going to be an original. Mine are in aluminum. But not a bad looking guard. Is it worth $300? No. No, a used guard like this should be worth maybe $200. Maybe. I'm not going to go too deep into most of these now. We're getting down into what he's got. The smaller guard here for $229. Some light grinding wear on the interior, which means it's rubbed on the interior. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, you know, yeah, see, pulley's worn on the inside. They probably changed the pulley or run this onto the machine harder, or you know, too far at some point in time. Not really going to affect it. Not a bad looking guard. Other than that, there again, $229. No, it's, you know, $125, $150 guard. Half. A little more than half, maybe. So that's pretty much all I'm going to look at. You know, he's got pulleys and hanger assemblies. He's got a machine he's parting out. Probably cleaned it up a little bit and then doing it. He's got a shaper door here for $99.99. I'm not even going to go and look at it. That's probably not too bad a price. It's probably not the original knob on there, I don't think. We can look at the big pictures very quickly. Yeah, somebody's changed this around. Did not originally have a, you know, this just had a little clip on there. From all of them I've seen, I've never seen one with a locking lever or a locking knob on there. You know, maybe that's original, maybe somebody's changed it. If it's, I don't think it's original. I've not seen one. And it appears to me that this badge has been changed, because we've got 2 more drive rivet holes on the outside, which would indicate, and I believe these had the larger badging on, so somebody's probably gone back and put a smaller badge on. You know, it doesn't conform very well or anything. So this has been reworked. Is it worth $100? Probably not. Modified one, you know, maybe 75. Maybe. Yeah, just a whole bunch of parts here. You know, if you go through some of this stuff, most of the stuff these guys have got way overpriced. If you actually go down and look through some of these listings, every once in a while they've got something that you may need, whether it's just a cosmetic piece or something else, that they may be selling for next to nothing or close to next to nothing. Um, you know, there's some stuff that usually, like I say, they're overpriced, but sometimes they'll screw up from their normal way of trying to screw you over and have something listed really cheap just to move it apparently. Now here's a Shaper oil pan, same seller, same machine, I'm sure. Let's read the description on this before we look at the pictures. Okay, in good use condition with no breaks or repairs, but please note the factory did drill all the way through the casting when adding the threads for the 3-bracket hinge screw sheath. Somewhat unusual, but does not affect function. Okay, so let's look at it. I have seen, and they're talking about these 3 holes right here. I have seen these drilled all the way through, not normally, but occasionally you will see them drilled all the way through. Look at the big pictures here. Now this rod is pinned. I believe the earlier ones, all of them that I saw up until recently, have been cast into that casting. So I would guess that sometime later in production they decided it was easier to drill them and pin them rather than cast them in position. Holes are all the way through. What's it look like? What's the rest of it look like? This has been around. It isn't in bad condition. You know, you're gonna strip the paint off and redo them anyway. So yes, it has been drilled all the way through. Was it done at the factory? Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Like I say, I've seen a few recently that have been drilled all the way through. You know, somebody may have gone in at some point in time, cleaned up those threads. They may have changed the threads on them. Normally that would be a 1/4 20, but I've seen goofy stuff done. Mine fits on there on my original, fits on there kind of goofy. They've drilled them, but they're also used as a tension screw to adjust the actual position of that hinge. And I don't know if that was factory or if somebody monkeyed around with mine a little bit before I got it. But mine had been through a fall over, so mine was busted out on this side and had some stuff done to it a little bit. So, you know, that's kind of the way they are. You see them both ways. Is it worth 130 bucks? Used pan, 75, maybe 100. You know, there again, probably not too far out of line, but is it really worth that much? So there you go. That's pretty much Shapers. Let's look at mills very quickly. I see the Shaper parts crossed over right here. Okay. Atlas horizontal milling machine, arbor cutter guard, partner M122 replacement, $349.99 or best offer. Let's look at this, see what they say. Seller that's been around for quite a while. I do not recognize him, but there's a lot of feedback there. Free shipping. What does it say? Atlas horizontal milling machine, arbor cutter guard, part number M1-22. Good used replacement part. May need cleaning, has a little rust. Well, let's look at the pictures. The reason I laugh at this, and it's a guard, you know, I mean, there's nothing stellar about it. Doesn't look like there's anything wrong with it. Been kicking around, grimy, grungy, a little bit of rust on top, a little bit of rust inside. Been beat up and ground on a little bit, it looks like. Nothing wrong with this guard. Is it worth 350 bucks? No. And the reason I laugh about this is my guard is sitting right here. There's your M122 guard right there. That's what they look like. I started doing a pattern for this quite some time ago, and wasn't a real priority. Didn't get too hot and heavy working on it, and I just got an inquiry the other day about these guards. So it's back on my bench here. I'm taking some dimensions and doing some drawings. and we'll get back on producing this. So probably within the next 3 or 4 weeks I'll have these available, depending on how fast I get to it. We've been working on a lot of foundry stuff here lately. I'm finishing up foundry flasks today actually, and hopefully I'll get the last couple drilled and machined and get finish on them, get them numbered and back into, which they're not flasks that I need for casting these at all, but I do want to get them done and out of the way. I've had the wood flasks done, and I've got the hardware mounted with the exception of the last box. So I've got to run over and pick up some hardware for that, and which the dog and I are going to do first thing this morning, and then I'm going to try and get them done today. So that project's done and out of the way, and then I'm working on patterns right now. That's what the printer's doing, is printing out one set of core prints for a match plate that I'm upgrading, and then I'll be back working on this along with my other projects here. So anyway, I don't anticipate these being a $350 guard. Now I am going to reproduce these in aluminum, which I think is a perfect substitution. All this is holding the oil and crap in, and they look cool to be original on the earlier machines. So I would speculate this is probably going to be about a $200 part. Something like that is my guess. We'll see once I actually start casting them and see what we come up with and get them finished. So anyway, some of my parts that I'm producing, some of my castings, I'm changing the processes a little bit. So hopefully over the next few months we're going to see quite a bit of changes in those. But anyway, so that's the overarm support. This is supposed to be a Fleabay edition. I'm not going to get off on what's actually happening in the shop here. Under milling machines, I don't see anything really major. We've looked at most of this stuff here. We're still seeing this rotary table with the 2 ears busted out. We talked about it here a couple of Fleabays ago. They still want $250. There's no bids and $15 shipping. That's a pass. That's, in that condition, that's $125 half. Same way right above it's the arbor support bar, which is just the straight bar. I need to get the dimensions and give those again to you guys. I think it's 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches. I don't remember now. But all that is a straight piece of round stock. And there again, if you're buying something turned and ground, I think when I priced those last, it was about $50 a material, and you can machine the ends and give them a nice flat surface and chamfer them and center drill them, which is the way the factories ones were. All they are is a support to hold if you're using an overarm support. The only thing it does is hold that arbor support to hold the end of your arbor out there. So it serves no other purpose. It's not a movable part once it's adjusted, and it takes no loads other than that. It can be a standard piece of cold roll steel. So anyway, that's all I really see that's even mildly interesting here under mills. Under lathes, some tooling, yeah, I'm not seeing anything here that's really intriguing me very much. New listing, new old stock outlet. That's a 10-12 inch. Oh, that's a commercial counter shaft. I'm not going to go and look at that. I don't follow those closely enough to where I'm going to have a idea of what the price actually should be on them. Bunch of little stuff here. Oh, here's one for us. Here's one we haven't seen for a while. So we'll come back to that. Let's see if we see anything else here. A bunch of small parts, nothing that intrigues me enough to go back and look at. Yeah, nothing here. Bunch of junk. Here's one that interests me. Doesn't interest me other than they want way too much for it. 6-position turret lathe tailstock for a 10-inch Atlas Craftsman lathe, part number 10D. Benefits charity. Well, they better be giving charity a whole bunch. They want $600 for this piece of crap, and I haven't even opened it up yet to look at it. Buy it now, $600. Buy it now, plus $132.23 shipping, and it says benefits charity. Let's look at this piece of crap. Oh, this is one of our fine sellers that will screw you every day, all day, and halfway through the night. Giving 10% to the sale of this item. Okay. So, and I think anytime you're doing a charity thing, I think that's a good thing. But this is so far overpriced that people would be foolish to buy it. Now, the other thing with this is when you get down here and read the description, it says 6-position turret lathe tailstock for a 12-inch Atlas Craftsman lathe. Swing over bed 10-inch up in the item specifics, but the header says 10-inch, the description says 12-inch. And the only difference between these two is the base, but if you've got one and not the other, why, you could have some problems here. I believe this is a 10-inch, is my belief. I could be wrong. Let's just look at the big pictures here and see what we got. We got this fine rusted up piece of crap is what we got. Do not buy this piece of shit. Now, the thing to remember on these is these are a manual index turret. When you look at some of the other things that are on an actual turret lathe or a production lathe, even if they're the small ones like the small Logans or something like that, why, they have an automatic index. So when you operate the lever, why, it will automatically index that head to the next position. These do not on these Atlas machines. They are a manual index. And I've got one of these. You've seen it on my 10-inch production lathe that I built up as a production lathe. So it's kind of an inferior design if you really want to do production work. You know, now they made some bigger ones that are more of a flat one, like is on the Logans, and those are auto indexed, but these are not. These are manually indexed. So rusted to crap. Rusted to crap. I don't know what these two holes are for. If they're for something that I do know about, I don't remember what it is. It's all chowdered up here now. Has that handle been re-welded on there? Maybe, maybe not, maybe. What's that hole for? No idea. You can look at this for yourself and see what this actually is. This is the little cam that unlocks the turret for you to index it. But this is in such poor condition. Now they've built their own tool holders, or these are shop built tool holders, which is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I build a tremendous amount of my tool holders, but this thing's all rusted up. This is just a piece of crap. It's just a piece of crap. You don't see them very often. That doesn't mean this is worth 600 bucks. These are the stops on the end. Looks like, do we have all 6 screws? I see 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe that 6th one's hiding down there. These are the proper lock nuts for them. I don't see one there. And this adjusts your turret length. That's an oiler there buried under the grime, dirt, and grease. This thing looks like it's wore. You want movement here, but that looks like there's a tremendous amount of space there. This thing's a piece of junk. Piece of junk. Junk, 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 junk. This hasn't been on a machine or seen any use in years. And it's certainly not worth 600 bucks. There's no clamp to lock it down. My speculation is this is for a 10-inch from looking at the thickness of the base that is there. For a while I questioned if there was even a base there, but I believe that is the base underneath it. The 12-inch is the same thing, just thicker. And you can see he's got some other grimy parts. There's that he's probably selling. There's the bed there. That's a foot. There's the countershaft hanger that goes on the back of the lathe that's mounted. He's come across this piece of crap someplace or pulled it out from underneath the bench. He's a seller that sells this junk. So yeah, you don't need to worry yourself with this piece of crap. So anyway, that I do find interesting, just because that is so grossly overpriced that it's not even in the ballpark. Not even in the ballpark. Okay. So I think with that we will leave this little Fleabay edition right here. Nothing worth having. Nothing worth having. So I will leave this here. Hopefully you guys will have a good rest of your week. And I've got some other videos. I already got some stuff scheduled, and you'll see this one hopefully later today, or well, hopefully later today. And we'll leave it at that. Comment suggestions, leave them in the comment section for me below, guys, and thanks for taking the time to watch.